So next is question number 12. Sincere हो रहा?
Yes, sir.
Question number 12 is figure 9.1 shows a parachute is falling vertically towards the ground. So the weight is acting downward and the resistive force for 200 Newton. The mass of the parachutist is 60 kg and his weight is 600 Newton. State what is meant by the mass. So how can you define mass?
So mass, the amount of matter in a substance.
हाँ जी, the amount of matter in a body or amount of matter in body or substance. Weight क्या होता है?
So the gravitational strength acting on mass.
हाँ जी. So the gravitational force acting क्या हम लिख देते हैं? Force of gravity acting on mass. Gravity acting on a mass. Calculate the acceleration of the parachutist when the air resistance is 200 Newton. So you have to find the calculate the acceleration of the parachutist when air resistance is 200.
Force आ गया मैं
F is equals to ma.
लेकिन
F
सर अब 200 का
equals
200 तो नहीं लगाएंगे ना?
मैं आपको बताता हूँ.
So क्वेश्चन
A
नंबर क्या है वैसे ये?
question number 11. No, it's question number 12.
मैंने इसका मार्किंग स्कीम भी खोल दूं
So
साथ.
force over mass. The net force is 600 minus 200 and the mass is 60 kg. Check करें. 400 over
फिर
60,
66.7.
40 over 6. Oh, 6. So 6.7. Yeah. 6.7 and the unit of acceleration is meter per second square. Next is
क्या हो गया सर?
अच्छा next आ जाता है the parachutist fall from rest at time t equals 0. Fall from rest mean initial speed is 0. Next is he accelerates non-uniformly until he reaches a terminal velocity this one in this much time. At time 40 seconds, he decelerates for 4 seconds. 4 सेकंड के लिए वो decelerate हो रहा है. Reaching a smaller terminal velocity of 5 meter per second. Oh, he then falls at this speed until he lands on the ground at 200 second on figure 9.1. This is very important question. 4 marks हैं इसके. तो बच्चे कैसे बनाएंगे? 0 to 30 सेकेंड तो वो टर्मिनल वेलोसिटी अटेन करेगा. तो वेयर इज 0 to 30? हियर यू हैव 20. तो कितना बनेगा? 2 4 दिस इज 20 30 ऐसा ही है ना?
जी.
तो and its speed is 40 at sorry, he accelerates non-uniformly until he reaches a terminal velocity of 44. So this is 2 4, this is 44 in this much time. तो बच्चे इनिशियली वो नीचे आ रहा है तो उसकी रेजिस्टिव फोर्स क्या हो जाएगी, ज़्यादा होगी कम होगी? The paratrooper is falling downward, so resistive force increases, that
जी,
decreases the
मोमेंट,
net force
स्पीड।
or acceleration. तो
जी।
ये ऐसे
ये स्पीड टाइम ग्राफ है या डिस्टेंस टाइम ग्राफ है?
इट्स स्पीड टाइम ग्राफ हुआ है। अच्छा बच्चे, यहाँ से आपने कर्व पाथ बनाना है एंड यू हैव टू शो दैट डिक्रीजिंग एक्सेलरेशन एंड देन कहते हैं at t equals 40 second the parachute opens, टर्मिनल वेलोसिटी है, उसके बाद क्या होगा? यहाँ पे अब आपने यू हैव टू ड्रॉ ए हॉरिजॉन्टल फ्रॉम 30 सेकेंड टू 40 सेकेंड को इस स्पीड से मूव करेगा, ठीक है?
जी, ठीक है।
30 to 40 सेकेंड इट्स स्पीड रिमेन्स कांस्टेंट। आप कहते हैं एट 40 सेकेंड द पैराशूट ओपन्स, 40 सेकेंड पे उसने पैराशूट ओपन किया है तो उसकी स्पीड हो जाएगी।
स्पीड कम हो जाएगा इससे?
और कैसे कम होगी?
क्या मतलब?
5 पे चली जाएगी ना, तो
जी।
5 is 2 4 एंड दिस इज 5 2 4, यहाँ पे 5 है, तो स्पीड सडनली डिक्रीजेज और इन अ टाइम ऑफ 4 सेकेंड। 4 सेकेंड अब हमने काउंट करना है, तो 4 सेकेंड ये है। ईच बॉक्स इज ऑफ, चेक करें ना, 40 डिवाइडेड बाय 10, तो वन
4।
स्मॉल बॉक्स इज ऑफ 4, तो ये ऐसे इसकी स्पीड, इट टेक्स 4 सेकेंड टू increase in the speed from 44 to 5 मीटर पर सेकेंड, यहाँ तक आ जाता है। तो मैं यहाँ पे लिख रहा हूँ कि दिस इज 4 सेकेंड एंड हेयर यू हैव 30। एनी confusion so far?
नो सर।
Okay, next is he decelerates for 4 seconds reaching a smaller terminal velocity of 5 meter per second। 5 तक मैं पहुंच गया हूँ, this is 5, almost 5 here। Next is he then falls at this speed until he lands on the ground at 200 second। अब आपने यहाँ से आगे ना 200 सेकेंड तक स्ट्रेट लाइन ड्रॉ करनी है, तो
ठीक है।
ये आगे,
ये कांस्टेंट स्पीड हो जाएगा ना?
हाँ,
नहीं, कांस्टेंट एक्सेलरेशन, सॉरी।
एक्सेलरेशन बिकम जीरो एंड दे मूव विद अ कांस्टेंट वेलोसिटी, और फिर इधर जाके ऐसे कर देना, ठीक है? कांस्टेंट स्पीड इस तरह से, तो इसका मतलब है यहाँ पे आपके पास इधर आपने शो करना है फ्रॉम 0 to 30 सेकेंड, 0 to 30 सेकेंड, and initial speed is and speed reaches up to 44 meter per second. This is the terminal velocity before opening the parachute, opening
द पैराशूट।
the parachute, and this one is the terminal velocity after opening the parachute, after opening the parachute. No, calculate the average acceleration of the parachute between 40 second to 44 second। एवरेज एक्सेलरेशन आपने फाइंड करना है, a इक्वल्स बी minus u over t.
T.
The final speed is 5. Initial speed is 44 and कितना टाइम लगा था 4 सेकंड का चेक करो
9.8.
9.8 मीटर पर सेकंड स्क्वायर
हाँ जी।
9.8 meters per second square. Okay. Next is explain in term of the forces involved why the parachutist reaches a terminal velocity at t equals 30 second. 30 second पे हम कह सकते हैं कि the at 30 second the air resistance become equals to the weight. At 30 second the air resistance become equal to weight. जी अब्दुल आवाज आ रही है
हाँ जी सर।
कोई मेरी आवाज में डिस्टॉर्शन
नो सर।
या आपकी आप ही के साथ तो बहुत मसला होता है कहाँ पे है वो
सर एप्पी अभी मैं एप्पी ना दरअसल मोबाइल डाटा नहीं इस्तेमाल करती है। इस घर में वाईफाई बहुत गंदा है तो मैं मोबाइल डाटा ही इस्तेमाल करता हूँ, एप्पी नहीं करती हैं।
उसको भी कहें क्योंकि उसने मुझे इतनी दफा कहा है कि डिस्कनेक्ट हो रहा है डिस्कनेक्ट हो रहा है ठीक है
ठीक है सर,
ओके
कह देता हूँ।
नेक्स्ट इज द पैराशूट इज decelerates when the parachute opens huh? Explain in terms of forces involved why the parachutist decelerates when the parachute opens सोचे क्या कहेंगे आप when
सर
से लिख देते हैं when parachute is open parachute is open the upward the air resistance becomes larger air resistance becomes larger than weight the air resistance becomes larger important larger than weight ये उस टाइम जब when you open the parachute become larger than weight so the net resultant force will be in upward direction so the resultant force is in upward direction so मैं important लिख the second terminal velocity when the parachute is open is smaller than the first देखिए first terminal velocity having a value of around 44 meter per second और the second terminal velocity is 5 क्यों जी बच्चे तो लिखते हैं when parachute is open when
एयर रेजिस्टेंस के बारे में बताएंगे इसमें।
हाँ जी when parachute open इसमें लिखते हैं the air resistance become equals to weight the air resistance become equal weight become equals to weight at lower speed at lower speed. लो स्पीड पे ही एयर रेजिस्टेंस जो है दैट बिकम्स इक्वल्स टू द वेट ऑफ द ऑब्जेक्ट. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट 13 क्वेश्चन पढ़े.
A girl of mass 35 kilograms on a bicycle accelerates from west and travels down a slope in a straight line. The girl does not use the pedals, shows the gradient. Calculate the resultant force when she is accelerating at 2.6. F is equal to m8,
Mass is
which is,
given
she said,
and
91 again. So
from
90,
rest का मतलब इनिशियल स्पीड इज जीरो. तो यू हैव टू फाइंड. अच्छा ये तो आसान है. रिजल्टेंट
yeah,
फोर्स
easy
F
as well.
इक्वल्स एम ए. F equals m is the mass 35. Acceleration is 2.6. Acceleration is 0.6. आंसर चेक करें क्या आता है.
So, yeah, again 91.
So 91 Newton is the answer. At first, her acceleration is constant. Is constant at time t1. Her acceleration starts to decrease gradually until she is traveling at a constant speed in a straight line. On figure 1.2, sketch a speed time graph for the girl when she starts moving until she is traveling with a constant. Oh, इसमें आपके पास शुरू में तो स्पीड कांस्टेंट है ना. एक्सेलरेशन इज कांस्टेंट. And when initially the acceleration is constant, the graph must be a straight line. And then she starts to move with a constant speed. So the graph come in this way. So here the speed becomes constant. तो मैं थोड़ा सा ऐसे कर. ठीक है.
ठीक है.
ऐसे कर. With constant. Here the speed becomes constant. Next is state how the distance travel is found. Speed time graph. Area under speed time graph. Area under speed time graph. Area under speed time graph give you the distance travel. Next is question number 14. Figure 2.1 shows a man pushing a heavy box with a force P. A frictional force F act in a horizontal direction. The force on the box are balanced and box is stationary. State what is meant by the balanced forces. Balanced forces mean
So, balanced forces at rest.
हम लिखते हैं
So, equal forces in opposite directions.
equal and opposite forces. So the result become zero. हम लिखते हैं the equal and opposite forces are called balanced forces. The
Hmm.
equal and opposite forces are called balanced forces. Next, the frictional force in figure 2.1 doesn't produce any heating effect. State what must for the frictional force to produce heating. Heating के लिए क्या होता है? Doesn't produce any heating effect. State what
Hmm.
must happens for the frictional force to produce heating.
So,
The box must slide over the
अच्छा
surface.
बस.
हाँ जब वो स्लाइड करेगा तो होगा ना. Box must move. Box must move over the surface. surface. Next is, apart from being stationary, describe one other possible state of motion of the box when the forces are balanced. When
Huh?
कहते हैं, apart from being stationary, कि अब stationary तो नहीं है, although the block is moving, one other possible state of motion of the box when the forces are balanced means when forces is balanced, the net force is zero, acceleration becomes zero, then speed becomes constant. It's also the case for the balanced forces.
Mm.
When box has constant velocity, when box has constant velocity, when box has constant velocity, when P equals 100 Newton and F equals 85 Newton, the box accelerate. The mass of the box is given. Calculate the acceleration. Very simple. The forward and backward forces are given. So we know that F equals ma, A equals F over m. This one is the net force over m. Net force is 100 minus 85. 100 is acting towards right and frictional force is acting towards left. So 100 over mass is 25. Check karo.
करता हूँ so 100 minus 85 0.6.
0.0 लिख देते हैं. 0.60 meter per second square. Question number 15. Figure 9.1 shows an astronaut in space near to the space station in orbit above the Earth. The total mass of astronaut and all his equipment is this one. The astronaut is initially at rest relative to the space station, but he is then pulled towards the towards the space station by the rope. His acceleration towards the space station is this for this much time. Okay. The resultant force that causes the mass of this much kg to accelerate to 0.35 meter per second square. So you just have to find the net force or the resultant force ma. Very, very simple. M is 160, acceleration is 0.35. Check करें.
56
56 Newton. Next is the speed at which the astronaut is traveling at 1.2 second. So you have to find the speed at which the astronaut is traveling after mean final with speed. So A equals V minus U over T. So A plus U over into equals to V. So V equals U. Initial speed is, what's the initial speed? Initially, the astronaut is at rest. Acceleration is 0.35. The time, this one is important. The time is 1.2. Check करें.
0.35 1.2 0.42 sir.
0.42 meters per second. The resultant force on the astronaut is constant for 1.2 second. Resultant force, the astronaut is constant for this much time, but then it to zero instantly as the rope becomes black. Okay. Next is On figure 9.2, sketch the speed time graph for the astronaut for the first 3 seconds of his motion. इसमें क्या बनेगा हमारे पास? शुरू में तो फोर्स कांस्टेंट है ना, अप टू
जी
1.2 सेकेंड. 1.2 देखते हैं कहाँ पे होगा. लेट्स सपोज हियर यू हैव 1.2. तो up to 1.2 the force is almost constant.
Hmm.
The force is almost constant. तो मैं ऐसे लिख देता हूँ, हाफ आपका ऐसे बनेगा, और यहाँ पे हम लिख देते हैं एक्सेलरेशन इज कांस्टेंट. एक्सेलरेशन इज,
Constant.
एंड आफ्टर दैट ने क्या कहा था कि become zero. When acceleration becomes zero, when the speed becomes constant. So if the speed becomes constant, acceleration becomes zero up to 3 सेकेंड तक आपने ड्रॉ करना है. यहाँ पे हम कहेंगे here the speed is constant, so net force is zero and acceleration is also zero. ठीक है.
Hmm.
Next, describe how the distance moved by the astronaut during the first 3 found using the speed time graph. जी बच्चे,
Hmm.
सेकंड पार्ट कैसे करेंगे? How the distance moved by astronaut during the first 3 seconds may be found using the speed time graph.
So area under the graph.
हाँ जी, the area under the graph gives area under the speed time graph, speed time graph, the area under the speed time graph gives distance, distance moved by astronaut, by astronaut. Next is, the space station is traveling at a constant speed. Speed is constant. ठीक है? In a circular orbit around the Earth as shown in figure 9.3. A force act on a space station to keep it in its orbit. On figure 9.3, draw an arrow to show the direction of this force. Which force tends to move the body to move in a circle?
Centripetal.
Centripetal force. Good. And centripetal force is towards the center of the circle. This one is the centripetal force, and the formula for centripetal force is mv square over r. M is the mass, v is the speed, r is the radius of the orbit. Explain force. तो आपने कहना है the gravitational force, the force of attraction between Earth and the satellite produces the centripetal force. So the gravitational force between Earth and satellites, the gravitational, the gravitational force between Earth and satellite, the gravitational force between Earth and satellite provides the necessary centripetal force. Provides the centripetal force. Uh, any confusion?
No, sir.
State what is meant by the velocity of an object. What is meant by the velocity?
So velocity,
Clear है ना?
sir, is the speed is equal to distance over time. So displacement covered in per unit time.
हाँ, the change in displacement per unit time या rate of change of displacement. Rate of change, rate of change of displacement of an object. Next is state and explain what happens during the orbit to the velocity of the station. Huh? State and explain what happens during the orbit to velocity of the space station. Velocity क्या हो रही होगी? Is it constant or remains the same? कल भी हमने किया था. Whenever it is moving in a circle, the direction of velocity is continuously
Changing.
changing. हम कहेंगे अगर स्पीड कहते हैं ना तो हम कहते हैं स्पीड रिमेन्स कांस्टेंट बट वेलोसिटी जो है वो क्या होगी चेंज होगी तो कहेंगे वेलोसिटी चेंजेस continuously due to change in direction because its
Mhm.
direction changes. Its direction is although the magnitude is constant but their direction is continuously changing. The kinetic energy of the space station, kinetic energy remains constant
G-
because काइनेटिक एनर्जी में हम कहेंगे स्पीड सेम है काइनेटिक एनर्जी इज स्केलर दैट्स व्हाई वी डिडंट कंसीडर द डायरेक्शन एक क्वेश्चन और करते हैं बस जी बचे पढ़े क्वेश्चन नंबर 16 पढ़े अब्दुल्ला
Figure shows the direction of four forces acting on a racing car travels in a horizontal straight line. Draw a line from each box to the from the left to the correct description of each force.
ए कौन सी फोर्स है ए इज द
Or reaction force, normal force.
नॉर्मल फोर्स वेरी गुड एंड बी इज द ड्राइविंग फोर्स
Hanji.
प्रोवाइडेड बाय द इंजन और नेक्स्ट इज सी सी इज द ग्रेविटेशनल फोर्स force of gravity and D is the air resistance and friction. Okay, very simple question. And the magnitude of all forces are given A, B, C, D. Gravitational field strength G is 10. Calculate the mass. Mass is M equals weight over G कर देते हैं. The weight of the car is what's the weight है 8,000. So it's a downward force. 8,000 over 10. So the answer 800. समझ आ रही है
जी sir.
नेक्स्ट अगला आपने बताना है रिजल्टेंट फोर्स ऑन द कार
Sir, इसमें वो minus करेंगे.
हाँ जी तो विच फोर्सेस वी हैव टू सब्ट्रैक्ट देम द
Weight.
नो वेट एंड अपवर्ड आर बैलेंस्ड फॉरवर्ड माइनस
Oh,
बैकवर्ड
वो
फॉरवर्ड
balanced कहाँ लिखा हुआ था sir?
मतलब ये तो ऑब्वियस है कि जितना वेट होगा उतनी ही नॉर्मल होती है
अच्छा हाँ
अकॉर्डिंग टू
ये भी.
न्यूटन थर्ड लॉ
जी जी.
तो इसमें हम लिखेंगे बी माइनस डी ये देखें ना यहाँ पे भी लिखा हुआ है 8,000 एंड 8,000 they are equal. Next is
Hmm.
weight. 1,000 minus 600. So answer is 400 Newton. Acceleration of the car F equals ma. अब मैं लिखता हूँ F equals ma equals F over m. Force. You have to take a resultant force. This is important. 400 over
हाँ जी,
mass. Mass is 800, not 8000.
0.5.
तो इधर मैं लिख देता हूँ इसका नेट फोर्स और रिजल्टेंट फोर्स 0.5. The unit of acceleration
Meter per
is
second square.
meter per second here. Another time, at another time, the car is traveling at a speed u. It then accelerate for 5 seconds with an acceleration of 1.6 meter per second square and reaches a speed of 20 meter per second. This is the final. Calculate the value of u. U की वैल्यू आपने फाइंड करनी है. वी नो दैट A equals V minus U over T. So T will be shifted. AT equal plus U equals V. So oh, हमने क्या फाइंड करना है? हमने तो U फाइंड करना.
Mm.
A is the acceleration. Acceleration is 1.6 multiply by the time. Time is 5. So here you have V minus. और इसको अब हम ऐसा करते हैं. 1.6 into 5 करें क्या आता है?
1.6.5 आ गया है 8.
8. Now this V is 20 minus 8 equals U. U will be shifted so it becomes positive. So 20 minus 8 is 12 meter per second. This is also important.
हाँ जी,
काफी है.
जी सर.
Office.
खुदा हाफिज़ सर, अल्लाह हाफिज़. टेक केयर. नो प्रॉब्लम.